All right, all right. I bet you didn't think I'd be back this soon. Too many videos, right? Too many videos, not the right videos, didn't do a good video. Video's bad. Not enough research. Not enough information. Didn't come up with an original topic. What else? All right. We're going to get into the Boule, the Divine Nine sororities and fraternities of HBCUs, and see if there's anything to the idea that they're kind of like a black Illuminati operating in the United States. Now, of course, people will make the argument that, oh, well, they're just all college educated people, so of course they're going to move into, higher stations in life and into fields, commanding fields and things like that. But seeing how college goes and seeing how not so many people are doing so good these days, especially, maybe you could have made that argument in the past. And as we know, these type of educational systems are funneling systems for the political class, the elite class, the managerial class, to filter out people who believe in the party line in the system that already exists. Right? This is what we learned in Carol Quigley's Tragedy and Hope so far. And hopefully you've learned these things as well. So we're just going to look at what is the Divine Nine and the black sororities and fraternities. And then we'll go from there. The Divine Nine, also known as the National Pan-Hellenic Council, represents a cornerstone of black culture, education, and leadership. These historically black Greek letter organizations have shaped communities, inspired leaders, and left an indelible mark on society. Understanding their history and contribution offers a glimpse into the legacy of excellence and empowerment. So these are the 9 for our sororities and fraternities. Alpha Pi Alpha, that's what my grandpa was in. Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, Omega Psi Phi fraternity, Delta Sigma Theta sorority, Phi Beta Sigma fraternity, Zeta Pi Beta sorority, Sigma Gamma Rho sorority, and Iota Phi Theta fraternity. Influence of the Divine Nine on American culture. The Divine Nine boast an impressive roster of notable members who have influenced various sectors from politics to entertainment. Some distinguished members include Dr. Martin Luther King, Alpha Pi Alpha, Kamala Harris, she's a Kappa, John Lewis, Phi Beta Sigma, Sheryl Underwood, Zeta Phi Beta. So they do community service, scholarship programs, voter registration, and health awareness. Sounds good. They're given the history. Those are the crests of each organization. My grandpa had this huge wooden paddle with the Alpha logo on it. The letters. Yeah, that right here. He had this huge wooden paddle. It was like probably about 3 feet. It was very similar to like a cricket bat. Like very similar to a cricket bat, but slightly longer. And it had those letters in red printed across the front. All right, so let's look at some more notable people who are in the Boule. the founder of Lyft, the president and chief executive officer of Dolby, the chairman and CEO of Universal Republic Records, the co-owner and CEO of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, director of corporate education at Nike, okay, inventor of the microprocessor for the Apple Macintosh 2, co-founder of the National Academy of Engineering, director of General Electric, explorer, leader of the Gimbal Scientific Expedition to British Guiana, founder of Kiplinger, the retired chief financial officer of GoPro, general counsel and ground floor investor of the Golf Channel, founder of iCracked, former master distiller at Jack Daniel's Distillery, co-founder of Fisher-Price, astronaut, Project Mercury, Project Gemini, and Project Apollo, scientist, consultant for the World Health Organization and United Nations, president of the American Society of Agriculture and Biological Engineers, head researcher of the USDA. Okay, so those people seem to be some pretty capable black people there. Okay, we got some judges and politicians, high-ranking military officials, Danish royalty. I didn't know we had Danish royalty. We got Danish royalty. Okay, well, okay. We know about the sports and entertainment. Let's see if we know any of these names. Not that I see, not that I know. We got the co-writer of Montfort University, a feature player on Saturday Night Live, John Milsner. I haven't watched that in a long time. What coaches, football players, obviously. Okay. So now we're going to look at what Steve Coakley has to say about the Boule. All right. Just put on this video. Probably not going to watch the whole thing, but we'll just kind of see what he's talking about. Okay.
Everybody knew having the responsibilities for guiding and assisting and facilitating the group. And that has a way of, in the best organized way, of sustaining consistency. Surely, if it be that Martin King was the one, or Elijah Muhammad was the one, or Marcus Garvey was the one, surely as they could identify the one, they would have made preparations laying at 2, 3, or 4 to be the next one if you play the one game with them. I remember the old movie Dance with Wolves where they used to sit in a circle, much in duplication of you, the original circular decision makers. No decision was made linearly in a straight line, up, down, or straight sideways. You were the people who saw the come around, go around, the reap what you sow, the cause and effects. That was your understanding about the world, and it was deviated by another group that saw it from top down, that I will conquer you because we believe in individual leadership and solo responsibility. So as we kick around the subject, we're going to be able to use the overhead a little bit tonight. I brought some material that I think will assist us on our way. Don't forget, of course, Friday night we'll be having a fundraiser here at 7 o'clock. I told Sister Janie, so far we have 0 commitments. So cook about 10 dinners. Where's Sister at? She's still in here? There she is. Yeah, you think you got about 10 dinners worth? No, yeah. Okay, that'll be Friday night. And then don't forget the AMU program on Saturday, as Brother Nkrumah had mentioned earlier. Listen out for some new lectures upcoming. One called Boule 1993, Africa 1993, and Black-Jewish Relations 1993 with an ADL kicker. In fact, that flyer has a little boot with the letters ADL being kicked right out the page. Part of what a consensus inhibits is individuals' opportunity to negate or undermine the strength of the group. And sometimes these are done by personal motivation. Personal motivation's predominant aspect or indicator is money. And I was talking Saturday out here in Pasadena about a little concept I was working on called whitenology, which dealt with things that the white people do that just articulate that they are superior and that we are inferior, and we accept these positions for no other reason than we got paid to. And one of the examples I shared with the little kids, who are primary importance in the counterattack on our community, is about that commercial with Michael Jordan and Larry Bird. Y'all seen that commercial?
Nothing but that.
Yeah, this is the commercial where Michael Jordan is sitting on the bench. Larry Bird walks in, said, "What you got there, Michael?" He said, "Oh, Big Mac." He said, "I'll play you for it." And they start going on the top of the garage, off the rim, off the backboard, off the ceiling, over the expressway, and all that stuff. You seen that?
Yeah.
Well, I always ask the children, if you watch it carefully, say, what does Michael Jordan win if he succeeds in defeating Larry Bird's challenge? Nothing. And that's whitenology. Make you play for your own sandwich. Let's do that. And the only reason Michael Jordan did it was because he got paid to. But that sets our children up to be a chump, to make us think somebody could challenge us for something we already have. And that's our problem. We keep starting from the wrong position, and we accept every other position from that position on puts us in the down slot. So if he had to check in, he would make such a mistake. People would proofread the images that he portrayed so that he wouldn't deviate. I mentioned the other night about the concept of an emerging dominant cadre. Part of what has happened is that you can do those things that make the race look like a chump because there's no penalty. Of course, we talked long about retribution and dealing with attacking those who have attacked us. But in reality, again, that's no one's job. And two, no one really sizes it up so that everybody can get a mass.
See, this concept of retribution, I'm not quite clear about this because I'm trying to figure out exactly where the attack is. Like, I mean, in the past, yes. But, I mean, this is like 1993. Things weren't really that bad then. So, we'll keep going on with the lecture. Just got to do some commentary in here so it doesn't get...
Understanding of what's really going on, and actually the children are the ones get most confused. So we got to put a little bow in there and start to get a little more aggressive in dealing with these deviations. And I suggest some of the things I'm going to share with you about what happened to Marcus Garvey. The best thing I can see as I study this thing over and over again, even some things I learned since I was just here the other night, is that there's a vein where a group says that if you just stop doing what you're doing, well, all the rest of us will be okay. But if you keep doing that, you're going to get us all in trouble. And I know Brother Marcus is going to go through that now at KPFK, because this attack on Kwaku, Lynn, and Liberation Weekend over 3 days out of 52 weekends, through one weekend out of 52, is not what the white folks are arguing about. The apparent trade-off in the oven is if you can drop Steve Coakley, we'll bring Kwaku back. And that will work if you go along with it and if Kwaku go along with it. I know Marcus ain't gonna buy it. He's already made his affirmation. He ain't going for it. And that's been in the source of last time I was here. We looked at a memorandum that had been written, one of the program assistants there, which alleged that she was unable to control Coakley on the air, and that was a punishable penalty of being given an assignment in a white institution and being unable to control an identified troublemaker. So now, it is not that I will ever bend or they could ever convince me, but they don't have to if the others around me go for it.
All right, all right.
So I'm proud to say that I know Marcus is not going to crack. But I know there's some others there, around there, that are going to come out to you one evening. And it's going to happen quietly around Los Angeles, and you watch who bears the word. That we got to save Kwaku at all costs. Which means, all costs means we may have to sacrifice something for it. Now, Kwaku is an honorable brother, and he deserves to be supported. And it's no deal of it's either or, because in this team thing, it's neither nor.
Right. Go ahead.
They don't go but one way. But everybody in the circle ain't committed themselves.
90s stuff.
So I throw out there to block him. And that's important because that's the left-right combination. We be up on that. There's another man named Gus Savage who was attacked for many reasons. One of them, myself. Any of you who have that ADL report on bigotry will see that one of the reasons he was attacked in the article was for giving support to Steve Coakley. And you can imagine a man representing as many people as a congressman does having to be attacked for supporting a constituent who supports his community. He's attacked also for his support of the Nation of Islam. Again, an institution within his own community. And that only revolves around that many of the attacks that we'll see if this comes out. This is a little light article. Let's see here. Well, we can tighten this up. It's like it fell a little bit. Is this affecting something? I hear something. Yes. Let me see if I can just stick it up back there. That might. I don't know what. In other words, we have to diminish the ability of the opposition to reward for attack. Because without reward, there are few psychologically motivated friends of the enemy. Meaning that he gets most of his followers for loyalty based upon might and persuasion of money and force, not because of belief. Ain't no, I so believe in you, I'm going to go do this for you, because they all get paid. They never do it for free. And they have to pay their believers. You got shooting, camera shooting bullets and shit. So, everything all right? So, we must, in stopping the attack, beat down the reward system. So if Saunders is told, if you support Ridden, we'll reward you, you have to be able to diminish the reward system. Now, it's not, again, the analogy is not fair because Wu was not an alternative. Wu spied on me right here in this room as chairman of the Human Relations Commission. Right here, when I first came here. In fact, they were here spying the day we did the fundraiser for the Sisters of South Central, when we raised $400 for the sister. Right here, we had a little fundraiser here on a Sunday afternoon. And they were here, we had an argument right outside there by the phone over them coming to spot the meeting out. Now, we have felt, let me see here.
All right, so I think we can kind of see the irony now. If you've watched this and you're a black person and you didn't find this offensive at all, then you think you're just like, oh, this is fine for him to talk like this. Okay. Let's keep going anyway. He's got some real factoids, but I wish we kind of get to the point, though.
That the attack on the political leadership, you go through Bradley, Dinkins, Good, Wilder, Washington, etc., you will find that it is not difficult to box in a black mayor whose responsibilities compel him to supervise white things. And because of that, the utilities, phone, electric, gas, light, municipal finance are beyond the leverage capability of a black man to offset them. They continuously find themselves in unfortunate positions. And
what?
We can easily see,
I don't know. Like, seriously,
like,
what do
you
you
can see
mean
this,
by that?
white police officers call black mayor nigger. This is Dinkins, who was called a nigger. 10,000 white boys walked on his office. When they walked, they was mad because he was asking to develop a police, what they call it, we got it in Chicago, a police oversight body. A board, a police commission, like the one ex-CIA Schomburg, whatever his name is, that runs here in L.A. You know he is ex-CIA, don't you? You know he ex-CIA, don't you? We do now. You do know he's ex-CIA, don't you? Yeah. He's the head of the police commission here in Los Angeles. What's his name? Schomburg. Yeah, he's ex-CIA. That ran right here in your LA paper. Now, all throughout the story, during the protest, City Council member Una Clark of Brooklyn said she was called a nigger as she tried to enter City Hall. A major network news cameraman, John Haygood, said he also was called a nigger as he attempted to cover the story.
I wonder if they call other people niggas.
They were covering the story of
They're
police.
Like, oh, you called me a nigger.
These was the New York police. Now, Dinkins got real mad at him. And as I mentioned, he then went out and got a new police chief and made him a white man. To show he was really upset. Oops, I'm sorry, I went hit the paint. So he was really upset. But it only goes to show you that you can't stand them up to us as some sort of reward. What I saw when I studied about Garvey, and we talked about it the other week, was that it was very important for whites to offer to blacks a prototype of behavior or success, and the phenomena of the black mayors or overseers were to tell the black masses that they had in fact arrived. And I thought it was interesting that in this story attacking me from Taylor Branch, which ran in Esquire in '89, reprinted in this book Bridges and Boundaries about black Jewish relations, put out by the Rockefeller Foundation, Ford Foundation, all the people I hate,
Rockefeller Foundation.
all the people I talk against, are here talking against me, fair game. And
Wait, what is that book called?
but then I'm going to show you who the contributors are here talking against me, fair game. And
Look like they got a PDF of it. Authors. No, they don't got a Wikipedia for this. Okay. Okay. Well, no single volume. Excuse me. While no single volume can fully explain this issue, Bridges and Boundaries, African Americans and American Jews provides us with a means to challenge and perhaps even verify our sense of the past, and in doing so better understand the present. 15 critical essays by historians, scholars, and political and religious figures of this century provide historical overviews of the relationship between African Americans and American Jews. They also represent the diverse attitudes within the two groups and reflect the multiple voices that have themselves shaped these attitudes. A visual essay that follows links, text, and images of more than 100 works of art and artifacts, first seen in an exhibit at the Jewish Museum, to explore the historical places at which the paths of African Americans and American Jews have crossed in meaningful ways this century. Okay. Let's see. How does he try to verify this Rockefeller connection to this book? Publish. Yeah. Hmm. Nope. I'm not going to get any info on that. Okay. Well, we got the info on her. No Wikipedia, though, or anything like that, so I don't know where he's getting this Rockefeller reference from, but we'll keep going.
But then I'm going to show you who the contributors are, who they said one of the most important things in putting this book together was to get a list of people who would endorse what we were doing. They didn't have control of what we were doing, but they endorsed what we were doing, so the perception was fed to the people that we were doing it together. You see, if you're going to attack Steve Coakley, don't nobody want to be the leader, because Coakley bop you on that ass. And usually the head man gets it first. And we hit. They know we hit. There's no doubt about it. They know we hit. And we get some good hits in. And so you go get a posse, a whole page full of people. Now this story attacks me, but it attacks our race, saying that blacks had to wait on Alex Haley to write Roots to learn of their history, while Jewish people had the Torah. It said things like that to personify the dumbness of the story. But it had to get a list of people to get them to affirm the attack. You see, if they can get me in a certain precondition, then the precondition is the prelude to another level of attack based upon my apparent weakness. And so, to go get a posse. Now this is a touring exhibit. This is going city to city. A museum. This is a museum exhibit. For the whole 1/5 of the book is anti-Steve Coakley. The rest of it is history about how they attacked and defeated Marcus Garvey, about black-Jewish relationships, about SNCC and black-Jewish relationships, about the NAACP, the Urban League, and Jewish control, etc., etc., etc. The only real current attack in the book is the Coakley portion. So I ain't gonna sleep it. And then not beat the ones I see standing around it. Like Julius Chambers, Director, Council, National Association of the Advancement of Colored People's Legal Defense and Education Fund. Mayor David Dinkins, Mary Wright Edelman, Dorothy Height, Ben Hooks, Vernon Jordan, John Lewis, Eleanor Holmes Norton, Eddie Williams of the Joint Center for Political Studies, Percy Sutton, who twice denied me the right to be on his radio station from the Apollo Theater, all in the middle of the black community. Couldn't have Steve Coakley on his radio show, LIB, with Gary Berg, because Mayor Dinkins called Sutton, and Sutton called the program director, and I was canceled for being too anti-white.
That sounds like a conspiracy to me.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm sure some of you all got up. Y'all probably fall asleep before the night is over because you've been up early. Tell them, bro, what they say.
See, I think that's the thing.
You see that?
Really, let me pause this for a second. I think, being pro-black is good, but anti-white, not so good when you live in a country with white people. I mean, I could be wrong, but that could increase racial tensions if you walk around all the time saying, I'm anti-white, fuck white people, and there's white people all around seeing you do that. Right? And then you wonder why there's racial tension. You're like, I wonder why these white people don't like us. And then you're like, fuck white people. Right? Again, nothing wrong with being pro-black or proud of whatever race you are. But I think we need to stop being anti the other people. Just pro ourselves. Pro yourself. Pro your family. You know, you're for your family, you're for your people. That sounds great. That sounds great to everyone. But when you're going against someone, then they feel like they're under attack, and then they feel justified to attack you. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's get back into this.
Maybe next week. At the all-black Stevie Wonder station. That says now they're too. First they said they could do it on a Tuesday. Then they said, oh, he's still here. Well, we'll make it a week. They're supposed to leave next Monday, right? So they said we'll make it next Tuesday. So today I changed my plane tickets to the next Tuesday. So, because we value the opportunity, and since that made the best excuse for me not being on, Sister and I paid $50 this morning at 7 a.m., waiting on the line to change them plane tickets at our own expense to get the right to go on to get some more abuse thrown at us. So that's why we're going to have more lectures here, is because we're going to suck up this excuse, because we got to have the Stevie Wonder, are you with us or not?
Come on.
Sheet of paper. Now, I know, what did they talk about today? Nothing. Huh?
Liquor stores.
Alcoholism. Knowing the alcoholics just went to bed. You know I'm up at 5, ain't drinking no whiskey, right? So you got zero population base.
That's good.
Hey, another big move for the station. So we're gonna see what becomes of Brother Coakley's opportunity. Now it's interesting that I mentioned the black press just for an example. I want to show you something, just as deviation. The attack on
I think I'm ready for
Southern
it.
California, KPFK, Brother Steve Coakley.
Hey, good evening, brother.
One of our great researchers that have exposed the Boule, a phenomenon that most of us in the movement never knew about until you came and brought light, took the sheets off of these Negro Klan members and explained to us what the Boule is all about. So what we'd like you to do is tell us the history of the Boule, who the Boule are, their origins, and the relationship to the ruling class.
Thank you, brother. One, I would thank you for hosting me and my friends here, and appreciate you and all your company. Everybody's excessively intense, and that is the demand of the day. This secret society, this particular black secret society that we'll talk about today, is the first of the black Greek societies, started in 1904, and that word that you said, Boule, is actually an acronym. It's a Sigma Pi Phi. Sigma Pi Phi, 1904 in Philadelphia. And for most of our people, we are not prepped to the responsibility of secret society in the American society. And this founding constitution, this illegal criminal enterprise, was a Masonic affair. And a Masonry is a form of secret society. There are other well-known secret societies like Skull and Bones at Yale, of which this corrupt president and his father were members of. And it is that society that the black society modeled itself after. So when they wrote their first history book, The History of Sigma Pi Phi, by a very noted black author, University president Charles Wesley, who wrote the history book for the Elks, the Prince Hall Masons, National Council of Negro Women, Alpha Phi Alpha, and Sigma Pi Phi. And as a result, in there, in page 28 of its first history book, it noted that it wanted to be like Skull and Bones at Yale. It was right here in Los Angeles at the Good Life on a Friday night. If you remember this time, the NAACP had a convention here, and LeGrand Klieg and Marla Gibbs were accused of making inflammatory statements.
Working with Dr. Graham's book, The Mannequin Leitmotif.
Yes, that weekend, the Boule was meeting here, July of 1990. They were having their twice every other year convention, biannual. And it was a front page article in the LA Times by Karen Grigsby Gates, who denoted that these elite black men were meeting in Los Angeles at this time. That was the first. I remember sending someone to the car to bring it in, and we read it from the stage of the Boule on July 18th, the day the story appeared, front page LA Times. And I thought it was unusual that the LA Times knew of this society, and I didn't know of them. Now, for our audience to understand, I'm starting off trying to explain to black people the impact of international policy groups like the Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations, when the bankers began to take over the American cities in the 70s, New York 75, Cleveland 77, Chicago 79, and here in California they used Proposition 13 to suck up the surplus out the budget, and bankers began to take over from municipalities the governing of the cities. And as I was scratching, I could not figure out how was there such black complicity in this centralization of worldwide power, the New World Order. It's on the dollar bill, pyramid by white men who never built one, never saw one, but they emulated this symbol. And now comes a series of societies, and now comes forth this black one in 1904. As we began to read deeper, it had another analogy in the story to Skull and Bones. It wasn't until we got the history book that the analogy that looked happenstantial in the story in the LA Times was actually deeper in the actual history book, where they drew attention to Skull and Bones. It denoted that W.E.B. Du Bois was a member, and it began to describe people, influential people in the present-day society, and historically, our university, historically black college presidents are primarily coming out of this, advisors to the king. And that word, that Boule word, can be looked up in a encyclopedia. Well, now people don't use them, they use internet. And that's a dangerous thing, a dangerous dependency. But Boule, B-O-U-L-E, the Greek version. There's a French version that's a coming together, a conclave, the AKA called their convention, the Boule. But the Greek word is what we're looking for, the advisors to the king. The lower house of the Greek parliament is called Boule. And if you know the American congressional system, Senate, 6 years, more power, authority, only 100. 2 per state. Congress, 435, have to run every 2 years. Your lower house has less power and authority. So it appears as if, in finding the Boule, that within it was a subordination to something else. And in its history book, it drew attention. Here's a logo. And this is their logo is a Grecian sphinx. It's an animal. And this Grecian sphinx is similar to a griffin or a gargoyle. Kind of ironically, the Boule had their convention in Los Angeles in 1941. And where else? Griffin Park. And this logo, this symbol, is a guardian animal. This would be similar to a Rottweiler or a dog or a German Shepherd. They tend to protect something higher than itself.
Let me ask you a question. I went to Howard University, for instance, and a number of African so-called Greek societies, fraternities, as well as in our community, there's a number of secret, semi-secret organizations. How is the Boule different than the numerous fraternities and groups in our community? What is the relationship to the ruling class?
Father, son. The nine make up the axis of the Black Greek dynasty. There are 4 male societies, 4 female societies, and the Boule make the 9th one. They're the first, 1904 series, the Alphas. I'm not versed in the exact order, but I have all of their history books, and each of them draw attention to things where they got their ritual from. The Deltas, draw attention to Freemasonry. Said our ritual came from Mary Church Terrell, whose husband, Robert Terrell, was head of the Masonic Lodge in Washington, D.C. Mary Church Terrell, Mary Church, is the daughter of the first black millionaire in America, Robert Church of Memphis, Tennessee. Huge mausoleum to him there. Those societies, those 4 male, those 4 female, and the Boule tend to make up a aristocracy. We talked in the park about the 10%. Not in the sense of us in exclusivity, but them in the terms of deputizing 10% of the population to assure that the 90% never catch on. And it's very important to know that if you look to Alpha Phi Alpha website, there's alphas, kappas, Qs, and Phi Beta Sigma. There's Zeta Phi Beta, Delta Sigma Theta, AKA, and Delta, I'm missing somebody, Sigma Gamma Rho. If you look to, say, the Alpha website, they brag about being 95% of all black lawyers. Now, if the Alphas are 95% of the black lawyers, what does that leave the Kappas, the Qs? Okay, now we're in the 90s. They claim to be 65% of the black accountants, the lawyers, the doctors, dominating. And it may be that our professions are dominated by people in the Greek societies. At Howard, there was a student that I tried to help get a doctorate in engineering. Very exclusive about giving them out. If you get one, you're set for life. Morgan State, Howard are very exclusive. Took big money from governments to make engineers, but the brothers weren't coming out. And when we got deeply involved, we found how close-knit, how selective the professional process is. So he ended up at the patent office. He was a Kappa. He said, we have 15 blacks, 1 female, 14 brothers, and all 14 of us are Kappas. Only Kappas going to get in here. And there are jobs all over where we think we're applying for something fair and open. But I would suggest that the ruling class recognized this was a very significant period, Didon, when they decided that they would give a college degree to a person of African ancestry in America who, after Reconstruction, should have been pretty pissed off. And so they were very weak about
All right. It's kind of hard to substantiate some of his claims, but what he's saying does sound somewhat accurate and somewhat plausible to me. Because as you can see in these notable alphas thing here, we got a lot of famous people in it. You know, Martin Luther King, W.E.B. Du Bois, Cornel West, Duke Ellington, Donna Hathaway, Lionel Richie, a lot of athletes, Jesse Owens, Thurgood Marshall, and that's just some of the list. I've heard other. Let's see. I heard that Bill Cosby was in. Yes, Bill Cosby is a member of the Boule. Right. Oh, we got an article here. Reddit, though. Reddit. All right, we'll check it out. Bill Cosby and Oprah Winfrey are in it. Jesse Jackson, Colin Powell, the guy from Sesame Street. They meet 4 times a year? No. Okay, that's too much. Okay, let's check. Is Barack Obama in the Boule? I might not spelled that right. So no. Barack Obama, no. But then again, I'm not sure if he's considered an African American in that sense as well. So he's more of a African American, similar to Elon Musk. Okay, so no on Obama. See, that's why Reddit is trash. Okay, let's see if LeBron James is in it. Yes, LeBron James is in the Boule. Let's check out this article and his tattoo. Okay. LeBron James has a winged lion tattooed across his chest. The significance from a layman's perspective is that James has always attributed himself to being a creature like a lion with a ferocious style of play he showcases on the NBA hardwood. He's even had a lion's head as an emblem on his Nike merchandise over the years. The wings, of course, are a nod to his ability to soar through the air for poster dunks. This would be the layman's interpretation of this ink. The more complicated interpretation is one that is given by Body Art Guru. Here, they would go on to explain what exactly that illustration is and its origins are. According to them, LeBron James' chest tattoo is the lion from St. Mark's Gospel. Okay, so $330 tattoo. Okay, where's the winged lion one? Damn, man, you got a lot of tattoos. Okay. All right, let's pull up that Boule picture. I mean, what happened here? It's definitely similar. It's definitely similar, but to say it's the same. Wait, hold on. I mean, even like that swirling kind of pattern there is very similar. Interesting. Mr. Kobe. All right. So it's going to be hard to verify the claim that, 80% of black lawyers are on the Boule. Let's try that one. Yeah, it's like it's kind of hard to verify stuff like that. Because it's like obviously it's so many years over time since like the 1920s. Who knows how many people are in these positions of power? But as you can see, like Steve says, it's very similar organization to like Skull and Crossbones or any type of fraternal organization that has a post school organization. Like it's not just kind of like a thing that you do in college and then maybe you know the people or maybe you don't. These are like the serious fraternities that you get job placement immediately out of college. You get permanent job placement, great job. Like when you see someone graduating college and going immediately into like a high paying, high skilled job and they're not like a genius, it could be because of this. And there's white fraternities too and black fraternities. But basically what Steve's main thesis is that the black fraternities are subordinate to the white fraternities. And so they're kind of like a shadow organization basically used to lead blacks. And in a sense, they are seemingly some pretty moral people here. So is it good maybe that they're doing it? Is it good that they're doing it in secret? Probably not. So we can see that, there are black secret societies as well as white secret societies, and they're connected. And these black secret societies do similar things that the white secret societies do, where they initiate people, and then once they're in the group, working for the group, they move up into positions of power in society to bring other people in the group to more positions of power, basically solidifying their power by it's basically nepotism in a sense, but it's a fraternal nepotism. So they're always going to bring in someone from their fraternity, if possible, for, say, a job or any type of position of authority where they can get another person from their fraternity into that position over someone that's not in their fraternity. So that's basically how the fraternity system works. And the fraternity system is also a feeder system for larger organizations. Like if you do really well in the fraternity and you follow whatever plan or whatever thing, and you're the right type of person that they're looking for, you might get pulled out of that fraternity and brought up to an even higher level of authority within these kind of like quote unquote secret societies. And then if you perform well there, then they might move you up even higher, right? And that's kind of what the fraternities are for, because it's also like a good backdrop for the higher level people that are operating more clandestinely, because it makes it, this is like the Freemasons, like everybody knows that there's been, for instance, like how they infiltrated the church, but the lower level Freemasons are just basically guys that want to hang out with their friends, get away from their wives for a little while, have their little cookouts and all this other stuff that they do, and just, do the things that normal Freemasons do. But then when the higher up ones that are actually doing kind of the more political stuff, the more espionage type stuff, they can always call on the lower level Masons and Boule to help them in a certain sense, right? So that's just going to be the first installment of talking about this topic. I'll cut it off here because it's been going on for a while, but hopefully you can kind of get a picture of what I'm talking about here. That basically what Steve lays out is that these 9 fraternities produce a high volume of the most successful Black people in the United States, and they're working together, and they may be working with white people for the purpose of either controlling, corralling, or leading other Black people in a certain direction, probably voting for Democrats. Not sure, but it seems that that's his main thesis. So I'm going to get out of here with that. Have a good day and talk to you later.